All right, let's talk about something that I think a lot of us have unfortunately experienced. We're going to dive into the psychology behind that partner. You know the one. The person who absolutely, positively can never be wrong. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a relationship that felt like you were just arguing with a brick wall, where it doesn't matter what you say, what proof you have, they just will not, cannot admit they made a mistake? We're calling this the never wrong partner. And what we're about to unpack is why this isn't just some annoying personality quirk. It's actually a pretty significant red flag, and it points to something way deeper going on. You know, it's so easy to just write off these constant fights as drama, or, say we just don't communicate well. But what if I told you that what you're dealing with has a very specific psychological root? Well, this behavior, it actually has a name. What you're likely up against is a classic defense mechanism, and it's called psychological projection. Just being able to put a name to it, that's a huge first step to understanding what's really happening. Here's the textbook definition, but let's make it simpler. Think of it like a game of emotional hot potato. Imagine your partner feels insecure, maybe about being disorganized, but they can't stand that feeling about themselves. So what do? They toss that hot potato feeling right over to you. Suddenly, they're accusing you of being the disorganized one. It's a way to get rid of their own uncomfortable feelings by making them your problem. So why? Why do people do this? What is all this projection really hiding? Well, it turns out this entire behavior is basically a smokescreen, a cover for some really deep-seated feelings of inadequacy. Which leads us to the big question, right? This person who acts so confident, so perfect, so infallible in their own mind, what are they actually hiding from? From you? And maybe even from themselves? And this is it. This is the absolute heart of the matter. The constant criticism, the nitpicking, the refusal to ever be wrong, it's not actually about you at all. It's a suit of armor they put on every single day to protect a very, very fragile ego inside. It shields them from their biggest fear, being seen as inadequate. Okay, so let's get practical. How does this actually play out when you're in a fight? Well, the accountability smokescreen, which is the perfect way to describe how this defense mechanism comes alive during a conflict. Just picture it. You try to bring something up, something they did or forgot to do, and instead of just owning it, they immediately pivot. They'll say something like, "Oh yeah? Well, what about that time you were late last week?" And just like that, poof, a smokescreen of your flaws appears so they can sneak away from any responsibility. This really lays it all out, doesn't it? Internally, what they are feeling is their own sense of not being good enough, but externally, what you hear is a detailed list of all your shortcomings. In the blink of an eye, the entire conversation gets twisted away from their actions and onto your character, leaving you completely baffled and on the defense. So if this is all sounding a little too familiar, the big question is, what now? What do you do? Our final section is all about the path forward, about how to stop walking on eggshells and start walking toward empowerment. And look, the point isn't about how you can fix them, because that's not your job. It's about recognizing that if you have to constantly edit yourself to prevent an argument, you're not in a safe relationship. You're in a minefield. And that really gets to this crucial idea. In these dynamics, you're not being treated like a partner. You're being treated like a project that needs constant fixing. But a healthy relationship, that's a partnership of equals who build each other up, not a renovation project where one person is always being torn down. And I think this quote just says it all. A relationship should be a source of joy, of mutual delight. It shouldn't feel like a second job where you're constantly performing manual labor just to keep the peace. So we'll leave you with this question to think about. Now that you can see this pattern for what it really is, a defense tactic, what smokescreens in your relationships or anywhere else in your life are you finally ready to see right through?